Hey look, we're not on the desk today. We are a different side of the room. And the reason that we are a different side of the room is because I wanted to talk about various gas blowback AK platforms. So rather than trying to crowd a load of AKs onto the desk, it was easier to stand in front of a rack. So here we go. Now recently we did a video, I say recently, it was a good few months ago now. We did a video on the VFC AK platform. This is how mine stands at the moment. Sadly I've still not had a chance to use it. But at the moment I have replaced the pistol grip with the Palm Industries pistol grip, real one. The lower handguard has got a Azura replica Zenitco lower and a replica Midwest Industries gas tube that's currently got a maul on it, because I was just seeing, if that worked and if that was going to be something that was viable for me to use, and it's quite comfortable, to be fair. Just if I decide to use this at night at any point and to have an IR laser, the maul seems to work quite well with the buttons on top of the gas tube. So we looked at the VFC AK, and previous to that we had looked at the GHK version 3 AKM a little while ago, which I no longer have it here. It was for a review only, really. But what I do have is I have the older GHKs here, and I also have a WE AKM. And I wanted to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of each one. So we'll come back. We'll keep referring back to the VFC AK because it's the most recent one we've done, and therefore it'll give you the context that we need for the video. So let's start with WE. So this is my WE AKM. I did have the 74U as well, but I decided not to keep it. It never got used. So a little bit of background on this one. It started as a WE AK PMC, and we didn't want to keep the tactical M4-esque furniture on it, so we changed it to real wood. This wood is actually from I think this is from a GHK, but it could be actually be real AKM wood as well. This has been used really as a filming and training prop. And the reason why we kept a WE AK was for the main reason being, if I remove the magazine, because it is loaded as usual, because I was testing to make sure, check functionality every so often on all the guns in the armoury. The reason why the AK was kept from WE is if you're doing close-up shots with filming, the WE bolt comes back considerably further than the old GHK AKs did, and it just allows a little bit of a better cocking action for film. Also, it's pretty solid for training events. The WE AK actually is a pretty solid platform. It was a lot harder to damage when being thrown around than some of the GHKs were, because the magazines mostly were just less prone to damage than some of the GHK mags, and I didn't really care about it as much, so this was often given to one of the guys who was acting as op 4. It's actually been a really solid rifle. It's never really been skirmished. I think it was taken to a weekend event where I was acting as a post-apocalyptic event, which I was never super into, but I was a roleplay role looking after the village. I was the town police officer or whatever, and I did use this to patrol the town area, the market area, and it did get a couple of shots off, but I literally used it for less than 5 shots. Aside from the wood kit, that is a GHK pistol grip. There's quite a bit of dust on this. It is a GHK pistol grip, no modification. It does have an end pass installed, an RA-Tech end pass, and obviously the metal has been given some wear to match the wood that was mostly for the filming and training purposes. This has actually been a really solid platform, and with the WE being able to take VSR style hot rubbers straight out of the box, it was actually a really good one to use for the training stuff, because it does actually shoot really well. Magazines are very square and blocky, not the most realistic looking mags, and the strike valve does protrude from the back, which is, I get a little bit alarmed when you have a magazine like this, put it in and out of pouches, because I feel that it's going to press the release valve a little bit easy. It does have the last round cut off there, so unlike the GHK version 2, which on empty just went dead trigger, the AK from WE does, when it's empty, give you that click, which is another advantage for filming and things like that, was we could actually get the click out of it. But if you want to run it dry with no BBs, you can use that cut-off lever. So again, for filming, you could run the magazine with just gas and have the cycling of the action without it cutting off, which is something that the GHKs at the time could not do. So that's the WE. Now this is a GHK version 2 AKM from, I think around 2015, something like that. This is a film piece. We're using real wood, real pistol grip. Although not typically seen on the AKM, this pistol grip is visually appealing, and it's a little bit wider than the polymer style pistol grip. And this has been, again, primarily used for training and film. Although I have taken it out a few times, and this is actually a super accurate one. This has put some great shots out. What I have done with all the GHK AKs is I've replaced the barrels with a steel barrel to give the correct balance and weight. The version 3s come with a steel barrel, the version 2s did not. And it's worth noting that the WE doesn't have a steel barrel either. The VFC comes stock with a steel barrel out of the box. This has been a solid performer. Obviously it's got a weathered metal finish to it to match the wood. But it's actually been rather good. And on this we've got an old canvas sling that's been paracord modded. Because as I said, it was mostly used for training and film. So we wanted a kind of third world terrorist-y kind of look to it. Another GHK AK here. This is actually my favourite, and I have used this for airsoft. Although it has also been used in quite a bit of film and a lot of training. So this has obviously had real wood replacing the GHK wood. This is for a real AKM. It again has the Hephaestus steel barrel to give you that nice weight and balance. It has a real AK sling. Real AK pistol grip, which is also date coded. And what I've done with this one is I've actually modified the bolt by polishing it to give a more AK-47 or Type 56 look to it. It's just very, I think on the AKMS, it's very visually appealing. It sort of steps it aside from some of the other AKs in the collection. All my AKs, I've hand stamped the serial number into the bolt carrier as they would be on the real one, just for authenticity and my OCD. But if we pop that aside, and we'll just grab another one for a second. So again, this is a version 2 VFC, version 2 GHK, sorry. This one with a real Ukrainian plum set, so plum stock, deep red polymer pistol grip, original one, and then the plum handguards. And again, we've got the Hephaestus steel barrel. Again, that stamped serial number. This has only really been used a couple of times for training. It's never been required for film or anything. In fact, this has actually sat in the armoury for most of its life. I've not skirmished this at all. But what I would like to do at some point this year is to take this out on the same day that I take the VFC out and to compare them, because they're both 74s. We obviously did a magazine comparison with the VFC 74 when we did the VFC video. What I will say is there are some differences between the version 2 and the version 3 GHK, obviously, and one of those includes the WE2, and that's the WE and the version 2 GHKs. The receiver is AEG length, and it's also AEG depth, so it's a little bit larger than a real AK, and that's noticeable when you put it next to a version 3 GHK, and certainly when you put it next to the VFC AK. That extra length and that extra boxiness, as it were, is quite noticeable. So that is the AK74 Plum GHK, and then that brings us back to this VFC. Again, you can see here that the receiver is much shorter. You can probably notice that it's narrower. It's a smaller receiver. When you pick up a real AK, or indeed the VFC one, if you've been using AUGs or WE or older GHK AKs for a long time, you will notice how much smaller these AKs feel compared to a regular airsoft AK. They are tighter feeling to them, and they're handier, but they're a lot heavier on the barrel end because most of the weight is out at the front. Obviously the VFC comes with that steel barrel, so we didn't need to do any of that. And I changed them on the furniture just because I'm a pest. If it's sat here and I'm in my office, I will mess about with furniture and stuff, just pissing around with it. And I do want to get out and use this sometimes. So you will notice there are other AKs in the rack. I'm not going to go through them because, shockingly, they're actually AEGs. So, for instance, that's a E&L. That's a cheapy Cymer. That's a loaner. It's never been taken out, but it's a gun that can be loaned out to anyone. This is another E&L. That's another E&L. And that's quite a rare E&L. I'll show you. It's just for the sake of it. But this is an E&L AKMS. That has the Ares slim pistol grip. It's actually a really nice rifle, to be fair, for an AEG. This was also used for films and training. There were times when the GHK AKs were just too cold. We were operating in January or whatever, and in addition to the AKs for the bad guys, we were taking some AEGs as a backup to use if it got too cold for them to shoot back at our good guys. And this is one of them because it still has the appearance of being a GBB or real AK because of that narrow pistol grip. It don't sound too great, that motor, but it's not really being used for airsoft, so it did the job quite well. But that's basically some of the AKs that we got here, and I thought I'd just show you some of the differences and the reasons why we have these different AKs in the rack. Once VFC start doing 7.62 style AKs, AKMs, or whatever it is they may do, Type 56s, whatever, then you may find that some more of these GHKs go. We used to have a lot more GHK AKs here, and it was reduced over time because they just weren't being used as much. So it was cut down to the one of each model essentially, and then obviously the VFCs come out. These feel stunning. Especially the AKMS. It's actually one of my favourites, but. And the AKMS model is one of my favourite AK models, if not my favourite. But when you pick up the VFC, when you just feel how much more solid and real it feels, even compared to these modified GHKs with steel barrels. So I thought I'd just take you through a little bit of that. I would like to do a couple more of these like group conversation talks at some point, where we take a batch of rifles on a rack like this, whether it be the long arm rack, which you see here, which is not the longer AR-15s, the M14s, and the bullpup rifles, or the retro carbines, or the H&Ks, or the SIGs, or the FNs, or whatever rack we want to do at a time. We might do this so we can do a bit more of a group conversation, and you can see a selection of guns from a similar family. We can have a conversation about it in the comments, with a slightly broader spectrum, because whenever I put a review up or an overview up, people ask me about, what about this platform, you know, what about GHK, what about TM, etc. So to do them in a group like this is quite handy. Worth noting as well, you will notice an absence of a TM AKM or AKX, or even a Saiga 12. May get a Saiga 12 at some point, but the reason why there's no Tokyo Marui AKM or AKX here, the AKX is completely made up, and it's pointless for my purposes, filming, training, and like milsim stuff, I guess. The TM AKM, it shoots very good. You do have to put a new hop arm in there if you want to lift heavier rounds, and all my guns shoot heavier rounds, like 0.3 and above generally. But the main thing is with the TM is it feels like a toy. That plastic furniture that looks okay to be wood looking, but it's still plastic. It feels very much built like a toy compared to, especially the VFC, but also the GHKs with the steel barrels in. So that's why you won't see any TMs, and also getting into another magazine platform. And I'm just not a massive fan of the TM platforms. They're great out the box if you leave them alone. Generally they'll run very reliably, but to make them perform the way that, for instance, the VFC performs with lifting heavier arm, you start moving the hot nub, and then you end up on this like runaway train of changing bits and pieces, and it's not a TM anymore. It's pointless. Why don't you just go for something that I think runs from the box really nicely anyway? That's not to say that the TM is bad, it's just to say it's not for me. And that goes with most of their guns. I don't have an MWS. I have had MWSs, but they just don't feel as good, as special, as nice. And they don't offer me what I need from a gas blowback. Whereas for someone that's coming for an AG, perhaps, into gas blowback, the MWS platform is more ideal, because it is more of a, like a Tokyo Marui toy, that's now gas blowback. It feels better than an AG. It has those gas blowback features, but it's also more familiar than going to a GHK or a VFC or whatever. So we are going to take a look at both the GHK M4 series and the WE M4 series very soon. I was going to do that video just now, but I decided to do this instead. We want to look back at some of the older platforms and see how they compare to like the newer VFCs, the newer GHKs, to MWS, things like that. So if you're interested in that, let me know. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Sorry to be just stood in front of you today, but here we are. I just wanted to take you through what we've got here. Directly below that, we've got like all of the Glocks and Berettas and SIGs and stuff as well. So at some point we may do the same with some of the pistols, but I think the rifles are a little bit more interesting for videos. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Please leave your comments down below. Check out the Instagram if you get a chance. There's also a Facebook page, and I don't really log into Facebook very often, but certainly let's have a conversation in the comments down below, and tell me what you want to see next. Thanks very much. Thanks for watching again. Cheers.